Okay, it looks as though President Trump decided it was time to um, get another security advisor to replace Michael Flynn because Michael Flynn was with the neocons in terms of wanting to go to war, particularly starting a war or going along with Israel with the war against Iran, because we have this Shia crescent stretching all the way from Iran, Iraq, uh, across over there to Syria, and then down there to Lebanon and Palestine, where we have Hezbollah, Hamas. So what we're seeing now is that he was given advice to proceed with Obama's plan to invade Yemen to try and take out some of these terrorist leaders. But it was a failed operation. They ended up killing a whole bunch of ordinary civilians like you and me who weren't causing any trouble at all. So some people laugh at that. They think it's a big joke. That's the neocon mentality. They think Israel is supposed to dominate everything in the Middle East and everybody else is not entitled to anything, not even their own land. We see that in Palestine. Their land is being expropriated. They're being driven out. And there's a possibility that Israel may even try to exterminate everybody who's not Jewish in Gaza so that they can take over the Palestinians' territory and make that into a large-scale resort, where they can build these big casinos and things like that. So what we're looking at, though, is that it's a very crooked system, and our government is very deeply entrenched. That's what we call it, the deep state. They can't get out. They are hooked like addicts, drug addicts. And so all these politicians, whether they're Democrat or Republican. Now, in the primaries leading up to this election last year, I didn't support Donald Trump. And it wasn't until he received sufficient tallies in terms of the electoral vote, where he was over the top essentially, that I ended up voting for Trump in the primary. Because where I live out here in New Mexico, we have a late primary just like California. But so this invasion of Yemen was a very big mistake. So Trump realized that, and he was being already pressured by the Republican old guard Republicans in his administration, telling him to ask Trump to resign, basically to dump. Trump would be dumping Flynn, which in fact did occur. So what we see here is that it's proceeding in a very slow process. Trump is actually learning as he goes along. He picks someone from Goldman Sachs to be head of the Treasury. He picked these neocons to head up defense and things like that. But he's gradually learning that the American people actually want America to stop starting these wars in the Middle East, places like Yemen, Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, to get out basically and let those people decide their own destiny, however they want to govern themselves, let them do that and stop interfering and stop worrying about these ridiculous, greedy corporate moguls that just want to control everything. I mean, these are the elites, and what we're saying, the people who voted for Trump are saying, we don't like these elites. We want them out. Sooner the better. So Trump is catching on, and this whole thing is going to have to play out maybe for several centuries in the future. But we've got to restore peace to the Middle East. Israel has to learn to live within its limitations. Okay, they're living side by side with another people who happen to be Muslim. A lot of them also are Christians, and so they have to learn to live with those Palestinian people. And it's got to be a two-state solution because both the Israelis and the Palestinians have a right to their own self-government. As long as Israel has to have a Jewish state, they can't object to the Palestinians having their own state. That doesn't make any sense. So regardless of how this works out, it's got to be a two-state solution. May have to be a trade-off of land or something like that to make this thing work. But Trump has the ability to actually do this, and he gets the right people in there, and on his cabinet, that sort of thing. He can make that work, and then we'll see some very big changes. So stay tuned, and goodbye.